at exactly 3:47 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. 50 banks across 6 continents received the same message. Your money is now mine. In the next 18 minutes, dollar to billion would vanish from the most secure financial systems ever built. The thief never set foot in a single bank, never touched a dollar bill, never even left his chair. This is the story of the heist that changed everything. Interpol's cybercrime division in Lyon, France, was usually quiet at 4 a.m. But Marcus Reid's phone shattered. The silence with an emergency alert that made his blood freeze. Urgent, coordinated cyber attack on global banking infrastructure. Estimated loss, $2 billion and climbing. Marcus, a 15-year veteran of digital forensics, had seen every kind of cybercrime imaginable. Credit card skimmers, identity theft rings, ransomware attacks, but nothing had prepared him for what he saw when he rushed into the command center. The main screen displayed a world map dotted with pulsing red. Alerts: Tokyo, London, New York, Frankfurt, Sydney, Sao Paulo, each represented. A major bank that had been simultaneously penetrated and robbed. How is this possible? Marcus asked Lieutenant Sarah Chen, his partner in the cybercrimes unit. Sarah's face was pale as she handed him a preliminary report. Marcus, look at the timing. Every attack began within an 18-minute window. The coordination is unprecedented. Marcus scanned the list of victims. Deutsche Bank, $89 million. HSBC London, $156 million. Bank of America, $203 million. Tokyo Mitsubishi, $134 million. The numbers seemed impossible. The attackers knew exactly where to look, Sarah continued. They bypassed every security protocol, accessed the highest value accounts, and transferred everything to untraceable cryptocurrency wallets before any alarm could sound. Marcus studied the attack patterns on screen. This wasn't random. This was surgical, precise, almost beautiful in its execution. Sarah, pull up the security logs from each bank. I want to know how they got in. As the data loaded, Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Every single bank had been penetrated through their own security systems. The very software designed to keep criminals out had become the weapon used against them. 12 hours into the investigation, Marcus had consumed 6 cups of coffee and hadn't left his desk. The magnitude of the heist was becoming clearer with each piece of evidence, and it was more terrifying than he'd initially imagined. Sarah, come look at this, Marcus called, pointing to his monitor. I've been analyzing the attack vectors. Every single bank was compromised through the same entry point, their SecureVault Pro software. Sarah leaned over his shoulder. SecureVault Pro. That's the gold standard for banking security. Half the world's major banks use it. Exactly. And here's the interesting part. Marcus pulled up a technical diagram. The attackers didn't break into the system. They used it. Every security protocol, every encryption layer, every firewall, it all worked perfectly. The system did exactly what it was designed to do. That's impossible. If the security worked, how did they steal the money? Marcus highlighted a section of code on his screen because someone programmed a backdoor into the system, a hidden subroutine that activates with a specific trigger command. When that command is sent, SecureVault Pro doesn't just allow unauthorized access, it facilitates it. It becomes the thief's best friend. Sarah's eyes widened. You're saying someone at SecureVault Technologies is behind this? I'm saying someone who had access to the source code built the perfect crime into the world's most trusted banking security system. Marcus leaned back in his chair. Sarah, we're not chasing a hacker, we're chasing an architect. Marcus pulled up SecureVault Technologies' employee database. The company was based in Silicon Valley, founded by 3 MIT graduates who'd made billions by convincing the world's banks that their software was impenetrable. There, Marcus said, pointing to a photo on the screen, Dr. Elena Vasquez, lead software architect, PhD in cryptography from MIT, and according to her LinkedIn profile, she's been on vacation in Switzerland for the past month. Sarah frowned. Switzerland has very strict banking privacy laws. And no extradition treaty for cybercrimes, Marcus added grimly. Sarah, book us flights to Zurich. I think we found our digital ghost. Dr. Elena Vasquez lived in a glass-walled penthouse overlooking Lake Zurich. From her floor-to-ceiling windows, she could see the Swiss Alps in the distance and the pristine blue water below. It was the kind of view that cost millions money. she'd earned by building the most sophisticated banking security system in the world, and then by destroying it. Elena sipped her morning espresso as she monitored the news coverage of the heist on her laptop. CNN, BBC, Financial Times, every major outlet was calling it the crime of the century. They had no idea how right they were. Her phone buzzed with a text from her partner, David Kim. Phase 1 complete. $2 billion secured in distributed wallets. Media coverage exceeding projections. Ready for Phase 2? Elena smiled. David was brilliant, a former NSA cryptographer who'd grown tired of protecting a system he believed was fundamentally corrupt. Together, they'd spent 3 years planning this moment. The beautiful irony was that SecureVault Pro was genuinely the best security system ever created. It could stop any external attack, prevent any unauthorized access, defend against any known cyber threat. But Elena had built something special into its core architecture, a shadow protocol that activated only when both she and David sent their unique authentication codes simultaneously. When activated, the shadow protocol didn't break. The security system, it became the security system. It convinced every firewall that Elena was authorized to be there. It told every encryption algorithm that her commands were legitimate. It made every audit log show that nothing unusual had happened. Elena had spent 5 years earning the trust of the world's biggest banks, convincing them to install her impenetrable system. And now, with a few lines of code, she'd proven that the only truly secure system was one you controlled completely. Interpol announces international task force to investigate global banking cyber attack. Elena's smile faded. She pulled up the article and saw a photo of Marcus Reid, described as Interpol's top cybercrime investigator. She'd researched Reid extensively during her planning phase. MIT graduate, 20 years in digital forensics, responsible for taking down some of the most sophisticated cyber criminals in history. If anyone could trace the attack back to her, it would be Marcus Reid. But Elena had planned for this too. She opened a secure messaging app and typed, "David, accelerate timeline." Phase 2 begins now. Marcus and Sarah's flight landed in Zurich just as Elena was implementing Phase 2 of her plan. They'd spent the 8-hour flight analyzing every piece of digital evidence, building their case against the mysterious Dr. Vasquez. Swiss Federal Police Inspector Klaus Weber met them at the airport. Weber was tall, precise, and spoke English with the crisp efficiency that Marcus had learned to expect from Swiss law enforcement. "Inspector Reid, we have a problem," Weber said as they walked through the terminal. "Dr. Vasquez's penthouse is empty. Security cameras show she left yesterday evening with 2 suitcases. Her car is gone, and her bank accounts have been closed." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "She's running, it appears so. But we did find something interesting." Weber handed Marcus a tablet showing security footage from the apartment building's garage. This was recorded 6 months ago. Dr. Vasquez meeting with an unknown individual. Marcus studied the grainy video. Elena was clearly visible, but her companion was obscured by shadows and camera angles. However, something about the person's build and movement seemed familiar. "Can you enhance this?" Marcus asked. "Our technicians are working on it." "But, Inspector, there's something else." "We contacted SecureVault Technologies in California. They claimed Dr. Vasquez died in a car accident 3 weeks ago." Sarah looked up sharply. "What?" Weber nodded grimly. "According to the company, Elena Vasquez was killed in a car crash in San Francisco. They held a memorial service. Her colleagues mourned her death. But obviously, someone who looked exactly like her was living in this penthouse until yesterday." Marcus felt the pieces of the puzzle shifting in his mind. "Weber, can you get us access to SecureVault's offices? I think we need to understand exactly who Elena Vasquez really was." As they drove through Zurich's picturesque streets, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that they were being led deeper into a carefully constructed maze. Elena, or whoever she really was, hadn't just stolen $2 billion. She'd built an elaborate deception that had fooled some of the world's smartest people for years, and now she was 3 steps ahead of the world's best investigators. SecureVault Technologies' Silicon Valley headquarters looked like every other tech company campus. Glass buildings, manicured lawns, and 20-something programmers wearing hoodies and carrying laptops. But as Marcus and Sarah walked through, the lobby, they noticed something odd. Security was unusually tight for a software company. David Kim, the company's chief technology officer, met them in the main conference room. He was younger than Marcus had expected, maybe with the kind of intense focus that came from spending too many hours staring at code. "Officers, I want to help however I can," David said, settling into his chair. Elena's death was a shock to all of us. She was brilliant, dedicated, and absolutely trustworthy. The idea that someone could have used her identity to commit these crimes is devastating. Marcus studied David's face carefully. Something about his micro-expressions didn't match his words. "Mr. Kim, can you tell us about the shadow protocol we found in Secure Vault Pro?" David's composure cracked for just a fraction of a second. "Shadow protocol? I'm not sure what you mean." Sarah pulled out her laptop and showed David the code analysis. "We found hidden subroutines in your security software. Backdoors that could only have been created by someone with complete access to the source code. That's impossible. Our code goes through multiple security reviews. No one person could implement something like that without others knowing." Marcus leaned forward, unless that person was the lead architect. Unless they built the system from the ground up and knew exactly how to hide their modifications. David was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different, colder, more calculating. "You're very good, Inspector Reid. I researched you extensively. MIT graduate, top of your class in digital forensics. I knew if anyone could trace this back to us, it would be you." "Us?" Sarah asked. David smiled, and Marcus realized they'd just walked into a trap. "Elena and I have been planning this for 3 years. The beautiful part is that we never actually broke any laws. We built a legitimate security system that happened to have some undocumented features. When we activated those features, we were simply accessing systems that we'd been contractually authorized to protect." "You can't be serious," Marcus said. "Oh, but I am. Check your contracts, Inspector. Every bank that installed Secure Vault Pro agreed to allow our software complete administrative access for security purposes. They literally gave us permission to do everything we did." Marcus felt a chill of understanding. The legal language was very carefully crafted by some very expensive lawyers. "We didn't steal $2 billion, Inspector. We collected a consulting fee for demonstrating critical vulnerabilities in our clients' security systems." Sarah stood up abruptly. "This is insane. You can't just redefine theft because you hid it in legal paperwork." David's smile widened. 3 weeks later, Marcus sat in a federal courtroom in San Francisco, watching the most complex cybercrime case in history unfold. Elena Vasquez, whose real name turned out to be Elena Rodriguez, and David Kim sat at the defendant's table, looking remarkably calm for people facing multiple life sentences. Their lawyer, a sharp-dressed woman named Patricia Stone, was making an argument that had legal experts around the world paying attention. "Your Honor, my clients are not criminals. They are security consultants who exposed critical vulnerabilities in the global banking system. Every action they took was explicitly authorized by the contracts their clients signed." The prosecutor, Assistant U.S. Attorney Michael Chen, stood to object, "Your Honor, the defendants stole $2 billion. The fact that they hid their criminal intent behind legal jargon doesn't change the fundamental nature of their crime." Judge Patricia Williams looked skeptical. "Ms. Stone, are you seriously arguing that your clients had the right to take money from bank accounts because of contract language?" "I'm arguing that they had contractual authority to access those systems for security purposes. The fact that they chose to demonstrate vulnerabilities by transferring funds doesn't constitute theft if they were operating within their authorized permissions." Marcus watched from the gallery as the legal system struggled with a crime that had been designed to exploit not just technical vulnerabilities, but legal ones as well. Elena turned around and caught Marcus's eye. She mouthed the words, "Thank you." Marcus frowned, confused by her apparent gratitude. Then Elena's lawyer stood up again. "Your Honor, I'd like to present evidence that my client's actions, while dramatic, served a greater good. In the 3 weeks since their demonstration, banks worldwide have invested over $50 billion in cybersecurity improvements. My clients prevented future crimes by exposing current vulnerabilities." Judge Williams looked at the evidence presented. Indeed, the global banking system had undergone the most comprehensive security overhaul in history. The $2 billion theft had triggered improvements that would protect trillions in the future. Furthermore, Patricia Stone continued, "My clients have agreed to return every stolen dollar plus interest in exchange for time served and community service consulting on cybersecurity improvements." Marcus suddenly understood Elena's gratitude. This had never been about the money. The heist was a demonstration, a wake-up call, a way to force the global financial system to confront its own vulnerabilities. Elena and David had committed the crime of the century not to get rich, but to save the system they'd spent their careers protecting. Judge Williams rendered her verdict: the defendants will serve 2 years in federal prison, return all stolen funds with interest, and provide 5 years of supervised consulting to improve global banking security. As Elena and David were led away, Elena stopped beside Marcus. "The next attack won't be a demonstration, Inspector. There are real criminals out there studying what we did. Make sure the banks are ready." Marcus nodded slowly. He'd caught the criminals, recovered the money, and seen justice served. But somehow, he felt like Elena and David had won anyway. The digital age had arrived, and the rules of crime were changing faster than the law could adapt.